Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Dubrow Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 16, Episode 15, and baby, can we just get right on into it? This episode was absolute madness from beginning to end, and I was here for it. I was annoyed, but I was here for it. They understood the assignment. Okay, I was annoyed, I was entertained, I couldn't stop laughing. That restaurant scene was pure chaos. But with all that being said, let's just jump right on into it because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off this episode with all the ladies getting ready, packing up for Aspen, and I was cracking up because Shannon was packing and she's so neurotic and just so frantic all the time. And so she's asking her boyfriend, John, what are the temperatures going to be in Aspen? So he's like, 51 degrees during the day, 31 degrees at night. And she's like, wait, what? Like, are you kidding me? And that's like, Shannon, where'd you think you were going? Like, you're going to Aspen. It's going to be cold. Then Shannon changes gears in the conversation and she brings up how she and Gina have not spoken. But she says, we'll be fine because I'm always fun on vacation and we're going to have a great time. I said, girl, now you know better than to think that somebody as pathetic as Gina is going to be civil on this trip. Gina is always trying to start something, so I don't know why Shannon is being so naive. Now we jump to the next scene with all the ladies boarding the private jet, and they are on their way to Aspen, and you know that Gina is excited because this is her third time on a private plane. And you're lucky that it's Heather's private plane because had it been mine, Gina, you wouldn't have stepped foot on said private plane. And neither would your friend, Emily, and neither would Noella. The three of y'all would have been flying commercial. Now they finally touch down in Aspen. Everybody's super excited. We see Emily going over the itinerary in the van, and she says that they have to get their IVs and oxygen, and then it's time for dinner. So now they finally arrive to the house, and the home is stunning. 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, gorgeous.
I love it. I love it.
So now the concierge greets them and they get a tour of the home. There's a gorgeous pool, there's a bowling alley, and of course Gina is foaming at the mouth. I'm like, girl, calm down. You're not used to seeing nice things by now? Is that much of a shock to you? Again, why did they cast Gina on this show? It just doesn't make any sense. I just can't stand Gina, y'all. I mean, I really can't. I mean, she really just irks my spirit. Because on top of her being a wannabe, she has the nerve to be nasty and rude to somebody who helped her out tremendously. That's where my real issue comes in. Because she's very two-faced, she's a backstabber, and the worst social climber. But the fact that you feel like you traded up because you're friends with Heather, like that's really messed up. So now it's time for all the women to check out the bedrooms. Every bedroom is gorgeous. Every bedroom has its own bathroom. And there are 2 master suites in the home. So there's an upstairs master suite with a gorgeous view, and the downstairs master suite has a hot tub outside. So Heather wants the one with the hot tub, and now Noella, who originally wanted the upstairs master suite, changes her mind and wants the one that Heather wants. And when I tell you, I was so disgusted when Noella said, my dad did just die, so I should get the best room. I'm like, really? Is that what we're doing? That has to be one of the most tackiest things I have ever seen. Like, who does that? Heather was so annoyed. She was like, are you serious right now? Like, we're comparing tragedies in order to get the best bedroom? I was just really bothered by that because don't do that. Let people offer you the best room. Don't ask for it and then to throw that in there. Like, seriously? I don't like that. And don't get me wrong, because when you are grieving the loss of a parent, friends and family, loved ones should rally around you and, treat you just a little bit more special in your time of need. I get it. But to say that, though, that's wrong. Coming from somebody who just lost her father, I was just so appalled. Like, wow. Everything that Noella does is just wrapped in self-centeredness, a little bit of entitlement. Like, she walks around, I don't even know the words, but she just walks around like a very bratty child. I don't know. The way she always makes conversation about herself, constant need to bring up her trials and tribulations to get sympathy. It's just like, it's very off-putting. And again, every single bedroom in that house was stunning. So you are not missing out if you don't get one of the master suites. Gina and Emily are sharing a room like they usually do. And I just said, they want to be Ramona and Sonia from New York so bad. So now we see Heather unpacking her clothes while all the ladies are downstairs getting their IVs. And we see Emily asking for a sandwich while she has the needles in her. I'm like, so is that your new thing now? Always just eating a turkey sandwich in the middle of doing anything? I feel like Emily wants a moment, and again, it's falling flat. Like, Emily, stop. It wasn't funny the first time when you pulled out a turkey sub in the sauna. It's not funny now.
No.
Now we see all the ladies done with their IV drips, and now it's time for them to get ready for dinner. So we see Noella and Emily all dressed and ready, and they're just talking, and I think Emily felt a spider in her hair, so she's screaming, Noella's screaming, they're trying to find the spider and like bring the spider out the house because they don't want to kill the spider. And so I guess they finally have the spider out, and all the rest of the ladies come down. So they're like, wait, what's going on? So Noella's like, yeah, we saw a big tarantula. And we see the footage. It was like a small baby spider. Now, I don't like spiders, but that was not a tarantula. I was like, really? I said if Emily and Noella don't do anything else, they will always find a way to put some extra sauce on a story. So they arrive to the restaurant, and I always get hungry in these scenes. Like, without fail, my mouth starts watering. And when Heather was like, you know what? Let's just order the entire left side of the menu. Bring it all out. I said, I know that's right. So anyhow, Emily suggests that they play a game, and she wants to know, like, what's something really cool that you've never told anybody? So Heather says that she has ugly feet. They laugh about that. Shannon shares a story about how her dad bought her a really expensive car when she was 16, and she felt just, like so embarrassed because it was just so flashy and so showy, and it really called attention to the fact that she was rich. Gina tells some stupid story about how she was riding with some boy in high school. I just tuned out because Gina never says anything of interest, and I don't care. Now, Dr. Jen wins this game because she reveals that she's been engaged 7 times. I said 7 times, sis, and you chose Ryan with no job? So everybody's freaking out like, wait, what? Like, tell the story, girl. How are you engaged 7 times? They're asking if she's kept all the rings. She said she's kept a few of them, sold a few of them, gave a few back, but she did keep a few of the rings. I said, girl, don't let Ryan find this out because he'll be after those rings too when you guys inevitably split up. But again, I digress. So of course, Noella in her confessional has to make the moment about her. And she says, no judgment here. Ask me how many times I've been engaged. I'm like, girl, we didn't ask. We don't care. Ooh, that girl can't let anybody have a moment, can she? Now, here's where things take a hard turn like they always do. Emily goes on to ask the next question, and she says, Heather, what was your first impression of Shannon? So Heather's like, well, that's actually really funny that you asked because when I first met Shannon, I liked her a lot. I thought she was funny. I thought she was cool, classy, like just really great. She also says that it was really great because she could relate to Shannon. And I knew exactly what she meant when she said that. Because remember, when Shannon came on this show, like what, 8 or 9 years ago, she was still married to David. David has a high net worth. Their house was huge. It was like 16,000 square feet, basketball court, tennis court outside. It was stunning. So I think that Heather was thinking, all right, okay, now we finally have somebody on my level too. Like, I'm loving it. So now, of course, Emily has to be annoying. And she says, well, how do you feel about Shannon now? So, of course, Heather gives a long-winded response back. And she says, you know, what I will say is that all of us in this group are mothers. And all of us get it. I was like, that doesn't answer Emily's question. How do you feel about Shannon now? So, of course, Heather gets shady and she says, and because of the fact that we're all mothers and we can relate to that, I just want everybody in this group to be successful. So now Shannon jumps in and says, yes, I agree 100%. I want everybody to be successful too. And I support everybody. Like, there's a lane for everyone to succeed. So you already know where this conversation is going. And then Heather interjects and says, I don't like mean people. So now Shannon turns to Emily and she says, Emily, I need to address something with you because you really started something saying that, you know, I was saying I want to have more fun than them when they were in New York. So Shannon says, Emily, you know good and damn well that I was just joking when I said that. There was no malice on my part. It was a joke. Like, y'all know my humor by now, so for you to misconstrue my words, that's not cool. Like I said in my last recap, anybody could see that Shannon was joking when she said that. Also, are you that much of a baby where you're actually going to be upset if somebody did want to have more fun than you? If you're having a great time, does it really matter if somebody else has more fun? Like, let's think about that. Fun is subjective. What I find fun might not be fun for you. Here's where I got pissed off. Emily starts screaming at Shannon, and she's like, Shannon, just own it. Just own it. You absolutely did mean it as a competition. You wanted to have more fun. I'm like, y'all sound crazy. And I don't know why you guys are determined to paint Shannon out to be the villain when she's not. And Heather, I gotta get on you, sis. I have to be fair, but you tried it as well. And I didn't like that. I think you're still holding a grudge against Shannon about what happened earlier in this season, and you're trying to punish her by siding with Gina and Emily. Shannon is trying to keep her composure, but she's really annoyed. She's like, look, I know it was in my heart and my mind, and I was joking when I said that. I said, Shannon, if I were you, I would tell Emily to kiss my ass and just call her a liar, because I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with somebody who knows what I meant. Emily and Gina both know what they're doing, and they look crazy. So now Heather jumps back in, and she says, Shannon, I was hurt because I thought that you were calling to congratulate me about my live podcast show. So Shannon's like, Heather, I forgot that you were doing that. Like, I didn't know. So now Heather's like, well, why did you think I was going there? I said, now wait a minute, Heather, because me, along with many other viewers, thought that the sole purpose of your New York trip was to show your kids around Syracuse, and then for you and Gina to hang out and have some fun in the city. While you're acting so mad at Shannon for not knowing about the podcast, it's like, girl, what? I wouldn't have known either. And also, for you to make Shannon feel bad, I was like, that's really shitty of you, Heather. Like, I'm really looking at you in a different light, and I've always liked you. But you're really coming across as very nasty and passive-aggressive. I'm not liking that. And this is the one time where I agree with Noella. Because when Noella said, you know, Shannon's taking a lot of bullets tonight, like, that's not right. I said, okay, Noella, you get on my damn nerves any other time, but you are absolutely correct in this instance, because I see what Heather, Gina, and Emily are trying to do to Shannon, and it's not right. Now, Heather is pissed at Noella defending Shannon. She turns to Noella and says, girl, shut up. Like, me and Shannon have a long history. I've known her for a long time. You just joined this friend group. So again, keep it cute. So Shannon is fed up. She has reached her breaking point, and I felt so bad for her in this moment. She starts sobbing and she says, guys, I just want to say that I'm doing the best I can. I am a full-time single mother. I have zero help, zero assistance. And again, I'm just trying to do my best. So now Noella says, yeah, girl, we understand. Like, you're doing a great job. So while Shannon is crying, Heather says, Shannon, nobody's saying that you're not doing a great job. All I'm saying is that when you're in a friendship with somebody, and then she trails off and says, you know what, Shannon, never mind, you win. So now Shannon's like, girl, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to win anything. I'm just saying how I feel. And I was really pissed when Heather said, you know what, Shannon, you win. Like, that's not right. Shannon was just really upset. She was hurt, and she was trying to explain her side of things. Heather can be very dismissive at times, and I'm not liking it. She's one of those people who feels like whatever she says and does, that has to be the rule and the standard. And Heather, the world does not operate on your set of rules. And you need to be a better friend and listen to people. For you to be so dismissive of Shannon's tears, that wasn't cool to me. So now Shannon turns to Emily and she's like, Emily, why do you always have to make a problem out of things? You're always running your mouth, not telling the story correctly, putting your extra spin on it. Like, what's your problem? So now Emily says, well, I don't like when you say derogatory things about my best friend. So Shannon's like, what derogatory things? Like, are you stupid? Like, what are you talking about? Emily says, well, when you kept saying that Gina needs to put a pin in her ego. I'm like, Emily, I know you're not that dumb. Somebody saying put a pin in your ego is not derogatory. Like, what's going on? And I hate that I'm raising my voice, but Emily and Gina are so sickening. I cannot stand them. I really wanted Shannon to curse Emily out in this moment. And I also want Shannon to say, you know what, Emily? The only person jealous is you. You're jealous of your best friend becoming good friends with Heather. And you feel a way about it, and you're too cowardly to say something, so you want to project and put it on me. And Gina knows it too. So now Noella steps up to defend Shannon again, and she says, well, Gina says hurtful things too. So now Gina starts telling Noella to shut up, and then they go back and forth. I said again, anybody who drags Gina gets a point in my book. So now everybody is going at it. Dr. Jen is just sitting there. And then we have Heather bring up the allegations that Noella said that she was slamming people up against the wall at her party. So Heather is really pissed and she's like, this is a crock of shit and you know it. A complete fabrication, a complete lie. Were we heated that night? Yes. Did I slam somebody up against the wall? No. So now Gina jumps in to defend her meal ticket and she goes on to ask Noella if Noella saw with her own two eyes that Heather pushed somebody up against the wall. So Noella starts stuttering and stammering and she says, well, just because I didn't see it with my own two eyes, and they're all like, okay, girl, bye, like, let's not do this. Now, Noella, let me get you together real quickly because you know in your heart that you didn't see anything, okay? You didn't hear anything about this. I want you to stop. You don't have to like Heather, but to come up with this, like, you look crazy. Also, Heather and Terry have too much money to put their hands on anybody. I can assure you that had that taken place, somebody's camera would have been out to record the footage, Bravo would have played said footage, and there would have been quite a few lawsuits, okay? Heather and Terry might be a bit obnoxious at times, but they are not stupid. So, child, Heather and Noella are going back and forth. I mean, they are going for blood. Heather's pissed. She's mocking Noella. And so Shannon says, that's a big accusation for Noella to make, but she doesn't think that Noella is lying. So now Noella gets really nasty and she says that this is Heather's karma. So Heather says, oh really? Like my life is actually great, but yours is falling apart and that's your karma. So she says, shout out to everybody, I have fun, and she leaves out the restaurant while calling Noella a liar.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I had fun.
I gotta be good.
So Noella is shocked. She's like, wait, what? I said, now Noella, you can't sit there and act shocked and all confused as to why Heather would say that. You started with her when you said, well, that's your karma. She hit back harder and now you're sad. Keep your mouth shut then, okay? You have a lot going on. You have a deadbeat, soon-to-be ex-husband who has left you to fend for yourself, no money, no credit cards, no checking or savings account to speak of. I would not be saying to anybody about that's their karma, okay? When you are living on the fringes. So Heather's outside. She's waiting for the driver to come and get her. She is over it. Shannon wants to know, why would Noella ask Emily if she had heard the rumor about Heather slamming people up against the walls? So now Noella says that Emily had said that she had heard the rumor too. So now Emily starts screaming and she's like, no, I did not. Like, you're such a liar, Noella. You are a liar. I never said anything. I never heard anything. Like, you are an effing liar. I said, oh, Emily, now you want to scream and cry when somebody lies on you. But when Shannon is trying to clear her name, you want to gaslight her. I had no sympathy for Emily in this moment. And the way Emily runs her damn mouth, I think that she's lying. I think that she and Noella were probably chatting it up about this rumor about Heather allegedly slamming somebody up against the wall. Okay? But now since her and Noella are on the outs, now she wants to act like, oh, I never said that. I never heard anything. Like, girl, I never said that. I don't believe a word coming out of Emily's mouth. And the way she was screaming and slamming down the table, I said, girl, shut up. It's giving very much guilty. So now Emily and Heather are outside the restaurant. Heather is pissed. She says that if she calls Terry right now, he will have the jet come and pick her up and take her back to the OC by tomorrow morning. So Emily says, girl, just stay the rest of the trip, because if you don't stay, then Noella will feel like she won. So Heather says, no, like, I don't even care at this point. Let her think that she won. Like, I'm over it. Now we wrap this chaotic dinner up to witness an even more chaotic bus ride back to the house. This bus ride had me screaming. Everybody was getting into it at the same time. Like, it was just too much. So Noella says, sorry for making dinner awkward, guys. So Emily is like, girl, don't say sorry to us. Say sorry to Heather. So now Noella wants to play dumb and she says, say sorry to Heather for what? So Heather snaps and says, are you kidding me? Like, apologize to me for lying. We already know that Noella has a hard time apologizing. So Heather begging her for this apology is like pulling teeth. So while Noella and Heather are going at it in the front seat, Shannon, Gina, and Emily are sitting next to each other in the back row, and they're going at it. Shannon checks Emily for running her mouth about her boyfriend John a few years ago. And Shannon's like, girl, you run your mouth and start a lot of mess too, and I'm sick of it. Now, Emily's making excuses about how she had only repeated what she heard from Bronwyn. So Shannon's like, girl, I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm gonna need you to apologize to my boyfriend because you said some really awful things. Emily starts screaming the way she always does, and it's just an all-out brawl. You got Shannon and Emily and Gina versus Noella and Heather screaming at each other, and Dr. Janice is sitting there in the middle with all this craziness going on. Now we hear Noella say that she's so sorry that this is how their first day of vacation is starting out. So Emily stops arguing with Shannon and she yells at Noella and she says, girl, shut the hell up. You started this whole entire mess and now you want to act like, oh, I'm just so sorry about, how this day is going. Like, this is all your fault. So they finally get back to the house, and it's more drama. Heather pulls Shannon to the side, and she says that she's disappointed because she feels like nobody has her back with this whole Noella situation. I said, Heather, that's funny that you say that because you didn't have Shannon's back about this whole Shannon is jealous of Gina rumor. You sat back and pretty much agreed with Gina about Shannon being jealous. So how dare you ask Shannon to have your back when you have not had Shannon's back? It cannot be any one-sided loyalty. I don't like that. And I said, Heather, that self-centeredness is coming out because, again, how dare you ask for support when you've been getting on Shannon's case for a long time now? I was so happy when Shannon said that Heather is more than capable of defending herself. I said, that's right, Shannon, because she's left you out to dry with Gina and Emily coming for you, but now she wants your help. So the night is far from over. It's like midnight at this point. We see Dr. Jen, Shannon, and Heather outside by the fire pit, and Heather is still going on about nobody having her back, how Noella's lying on her, and how she's pissed off. So then she says to Shannon, Shannon, what if somebody was lying on you, calling you racist, all these names? Like, that's how it feels, with Noella saying these things about me. So Shannon's like, look, I'll have a conversation with Noella, but at this stage of my life, I only want peace. I said, Heather, figure it out yourself. You're a grown-ass woman. You can handle Noella one-on-one. You don't need everybody to rally around you and defend you. You don't do that for other people, so don't expect Shannon to do that for you. So we see Emily and Gina in the kitchen talking amongst themselves. They have some wine in one hand. I love how the chef is cooking up a meal and it's midnight and they already had a huge decadent meal earlier on in the evening. So anyhow, Emily is joking about how she's a shit stirrer. I'm like, girl, it's not cute. Like, you really think that you're that girl and you're far from it. And half the time, it's not even that you're a shit stirrer, you're a liar because you add on to what people said. You don't tell what really happened. You like to add your own little spin to things. You and Gina have to be one of the saddest duos in Housewives history. The both of y'all are pathetic. Now we see Shannon, Dr. Jen, and Heather go back inside, and Shannon pulls Noella to the side, and she's like, Noella, you have to apologize to Heather. Just admit that you were wrong in fabricating, because those are very heavy accusations. Like, go up to her and just talk to her in private, but you have to apologize. And side note, I loved how in this final scene, the chef was making them French fries. I said, oh, sounds divine. There is nothing like some good fast food late at night. So now the episode ends with Noella calling out to Heather and asking if Heather would be open to them having a one-on-one conversation. At first, Heather says, no, I'm good. And then she quickly changes her mind and says, you know what? Let's do it. And we see a to be continued flash on the screen. And it looks like in the upcoming episodes, this Aspen trip goes from bad to worse. Say what you want, but this season of OC is giving me exactly what I need. The drama is just right. And I'm gonna just say it, but Shannon is the star of this franchise. She understands the assignment. She's naturally funny. Her storylines are always good. The drama that she has with the other women is always, it's always on point. But I'm here for it. I can't stand the way they're trying to act like Shannon is in the wrong when, in this case, she's done nothing to deserve this hate. Gina is a desperate loser who thinks that she has traded up. But she'll be sorely mistaken when Heather discards her like last season's Louboutins. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.